Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another game theory video. Remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. One of these really kind of nerdy kind of videos, so I guess you're gonna have to put on your thinking cap, whatever. Use your imagination, have a little bit of knowledge of the subject of what I'm talking about, and yeah, right. About how I would change Street Fighter, right? And so on the other videos, I was giving examples of, you know, a system that you could add to the game. But this video, I want to more focus on adding unique EX moves to characters because I don't think every character should just have, special moves that, oh, this is the EX version of the special move. EX moves should also be unique to the character, right? And I'm not saying if I was to make my own Street Fighter that would be the greatest game ever whatsoever. But some of the ideas that, I talk about here, when I think about them in my head, they do actually work, right? And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, some of the basic things I'm going to talk about is we got this a super bar. So we'd have level 1 supers and a level 2 super, basically your level 3 super, right? And we got this little EX bar, right? You know what I mean? So technically you'd get 3 EX moves around, or if you use that special move to special move thing, whatever, that would cost 2 bars or 2 of those circle things. Or if you wanted to special move into super, that would take a bar. If you wanted to do a super into a special move or something else, a la CVS2, that would take 1 bar, whatever. And I've also, talked about how thinking about defensive options for the game, the defensive options could potentially take away 2 bars, actually. If I could think of a cool way to give every character a unique wake up roll attack, something like that. I've talked about that. But anyway, and some of these EX moves are definitely going to sound kind of broken, probably, and potentially very powerful, right? So, what would be the reasons that you might not want to use this EX bar, though? I have played around with the idea in my head that maybe while you have this EX bar active, almost kind of like Street Fighter 6, I guess, from a perspective that maybe when you take block damage or you'll take block damage, you'll only take gray block damage or something if you don't want to use your EX move, whatever, yet. Or maybe you can't be guard broken while you have it. So I guess that's actually kind of a little bit like Street Fighter 6 thinking about it. But so giving the guy, and there'd be a little bit of a mind game here, and I'm going to show you some characters where you might get into that. Oh, and of course, level 3s, though. Level 3s would not take an EX bar, right? But anyway, how would we add in some EX moves that would actually be unique to characters? So I'll give a couple of more random characters, classical Street Fighter characters, and I'll give like a Ryu Ken example just to show how kind of unique you could actually make this, right? Wow, 3 minute forward, right? We're getting into this. So what would something unique, a unique EX move that you could give to Zangief, right? And I would actually focus on this move right here. Now, if you know in the Marvel games, whatever, he has this kind of throw where he just throws the dude up in the air, right? And then you can combo the guy whatsoever. So my idea for an EX move for Zangief would be after any of his special throws, anything like that, right? It could be his spinning pile driver, it could be his running bear slam whatsoever. And classically, when you hit a guy with a spinning pile driver, he bounces away from the dude whatsoever, right? And again, you got to remember when I'm talking about if I were to make my own Street Fighter game, I'm thinking about you definitely got to take this from a bit of a perspective of put on some glasses of imagining a more old school kind of like Street Fighter, right? Of course, there'd be more combos because games got to progress a little bit, right? But it's certainly not juggle heavy or anything like that, right? Definitely not fucking King of Fighters or anything bullshit like that, right? So basically, you got this EX move, right? And the EX move, just say it could be if you hold down 3 punches or 3 kicks, whatever. If you hold down 3 punches whenever you hit a spinning pile driver, Geif doesn't actually jump and bounce away. He'll throw you up in the air. Maybe if you hold down 3 kicks, he has that one alley-oop throw in Street Fighter 2 where he like tosses you behind him, right? So, but here's like the caveat to this, right? So he does this animation right here, right? But unlike Marvel or whatever that is, where you can jump up and follow them, you actually, in this specific instance, you can just cancel it with a normal or something like that, right? So maybe you wait for the guy to fall, the guy flies into the air, then maybe you jab them right here. Then you could get like a walk under mix up, back and forth, something like that. Or maybe he has this headbutt move, right? That he has like in Street Fighter 5, I think it is, right? Maybe if he headbutts the guy, right, it causes that rolling animation, right? And I've talked about before that I would like to see those rolling animations actually that were in alpha get used more as a mix up legitimately. Like if you've ever seen those Street Fighter Alpha 1 videos I've done with Guy, where Guy in that game, if the guy is rolling when you get knocked down, in the corner you can do some like left and right mix up. You can walk over their body while they're rolling back and forth. So imagine if Zangief just tossed them up in the air, and then maybe if they're in the corner, since you don't get this mid-screen jab mix up walk under, you get the headbutt, and headbutt makes you roll if it's an air hit, and then you can walk back and forth in the corner for a weird mix up like that. And it's important that I'm telling you, and of course you could lariat too, but it's important that I'm telling you that you can't just jump up, because I wouldn't want you just to be able to headbutt, because then that would mean that Zangief could then basically spinning pile driver you, you know what I mean? EX move in the corner, then jump up headbutt and the guy is dizzied, right? That would be too powerful, right? Obviously, but since you can cancel this into a special too, whatever, you could use this meter, so to speak, right? So say if Zangief hit a spinning pile driver in the corner, boom. He wastes an EX bar to do the alley-oop throw. He grabs him right after it, throws him up into the air. Then he cancels that move, because you can cancel into anything, with the lariat, right? The first hit of the lariat hits. Then he cancels it into another lariat for 2 bars, right? You know what I mean? He times it so it whiffs or whatever for a while, hits with the last hit. Now, if you remember how I said I would do that special system, that then makes your next special move be able to juggle with anything. Then you could go into that move. Then he would dizzy you. You know what I mean? You got to be using your imagination here. I wish I could make my own game. I wish I had some kind of coding kind of expertise to do any of this, because it's so like obvious to me. So anyway, so you're like, again, a lot of this would probably seem very theoretically powerful, but I don't think it's bad, the idea that many characters, assuming they get you in the corner, assuming they have full bar, that boom, they could one-shot you like an old school Street Fighter 2. So imagine, so if Geif somehow worked you into the corner, if he had 3 levels of super, whatever it might be, he could totally, if he hits a spinning pile driver in the corner, boom, he wastes the EX bar, he alley-oops you, he throws you in the corner, then he does a lariat, he does that special cancel thing, late hitting lariat, boom, jumps up, neutral jump, fierce, the guy's dizzy, then he level 3s you, and maybe that just instantly kills you, right? I'm not against that. You could even think about how would Geif had fun combos in that game. Well, I also said you could cancel it into anything. So if Geif hits his anti-air super whatsoever, maybe Geif hits his anti-air super, slams you down to the ground, boom, he holds down 3 punches, he alley-oops you into the air, whatever it might be, you know what I mean? Then he could technically do another super again if he wanted to, or go for a mix-up, whatever. Basically, the idea is very simple EX move, I think, that lets Geif get back in after hitting one of his own tools whatsoever, gives a little bit of a nostalgia nudge to this, and it's putting it into the game. And I've also thought maybe another EX move could be that Street Fighter 5 move where he sucks you in with a lariat. Maybe in that specific instant, he gets like an EX lariat that can suck the guy in a little bit like that. And maybe you can even whiff cancel it. You can do a regular lariat, go through some moves, then cancel that with an EX lariat. It sucks the guy in for a combo, something like that. Or it sucks them in for a spinning pile driver. Maybe he has one that whiffs that it doesn't hit. So he's spinning around, going through fireballs, hits how many punches, then he does it again, boom, he starts whiffing, then he sucks the guy in whatsoever like that. That one in my head, I would definitely have to play with the damage buffer to that, because it seems in my head that that could be very potentially powerful in a more traditional Street Fighter. But anyway, hopefully if you're using my imagination, if you have my imagination, you probably don't, but if you're using your imagination, you can see that, there's an idea there, right? And you're not giving him just generic EX moves. You know what I mean? You're giving him something that actually goes with his toolkit, right? And seems a little bit more fun, right? So let's go to a different character. Like, what would I do with Ken, right? I've used this example in other videos. again, if we're going from a more traditional idea of Ken, say Super Turbo Ken, although I would buff the funky kicks a little bit, right? But if you think about the funky kicks, if you think about, say, you know what I mean, the overhead, right? You only get sweep off it, but he has some kind of like, different kind of like funky combos. Like you can do that scythe kick, link into a duck little kick, then link into a funky kick again, right? But basically, my idea for Ken's EX move, roll with me here, would be no matter what funky kick you hit, if you press 3 kicks again, he goes into the Hurricane Kick Super, right? Now, it's not going to do as much damage as, like, say, an actual super or something like that, but he goes into, like, the Hurricane Kick Super that he has, the Funky Kick Super, right? And you could say that he has, like, while you're doing it, like maybe if he presses one button, he has a low option. You could say he does that Street Fighter 6 kick that he has now where he kicks you in the shin. He has the overhead option where he goes over. Or if you just press, like, maybe say little kick does one, medium kick does one, and then hard kick, you know what I mean? That does the knee, and then he spins up and he does into the Hurricane Kick and he finishes it, right, for the EX bar. Now you could actually put in a little nudge to say Street Fighter EX2 or whatever, how Street Fighter EX2, you know what I mean? You can hit that and an air hit, and then that actually lets him juggle and he doesn't have to do the Hurricane Kick. You could have some weird setups like that. But the idea is that Ken, you're giving him a little bit more of a traditional idea of his funky kicks, right? And he has weird combos in even Super Turbo where you're comboing into funky kick. You can combo in and out of funky kick. Versus big characters, you can even combo into funky kick. So Ken, he can do a combo. Boom, he hits that. Links the duck short. Boom, then he hits that. And then you know what? He presses 3 kicks and it's like Shippu Junai kick, blah, 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 blah. Right? If you think about Ken and Super Turbo compared to Ryu, who has the faster overhead and is more versatile, you know what I mean? And almost in a way, compared to Ken and Super Turbo with his overhead, right? Ken has the slower overhead still, but now his overhead, you know what I mean? You're compensating by giving it an easy EX version, where after he hits it, boom, he goes into a whole funky kick super, right? And maybe if you can't use your imagination to see how powerful or how kind of fluid that might be, you know what I mean? You might think, well, I want a different EX move, but you got to remember, if you think about the system that I've put into the game, you know what I mean? I think Ken already uses the system in a very versatile way. You know what I mean? And I think with this, you know what I mean? You're keeping Ken having a Hurricane Kick super, you know what I mean? A forward moving super, and you're making it feel unique, right? It's not just a generic, oh, EX Hurricane Kick, oh, EX Fireball, oh, EX Dragon Punch. You're just adding something new to him, something different, right? So now you're giving Ken a reason to use his funky kicks, right? And you're giving him an amazing, a very easy kind of hit confirmed thing, right? That if he has super, boom, he could do this 3 times a match, right? He could combo in and out of this, right? Hell, after, you could then super cancel that into something, right? Because the EX move, oh, super cancel that and the boom, 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 fuck my titties on a Sunday. You know what I mean? Very versatile. I think that sounds very fun, right? Again, a character like Ryu, when I've thought about him, I don't think Ryu needs, he doesn't need Super Fire or EX Fireball, doesn't need EX, Dragon Punch. You could give Ryu, though, the EX Hurricane Kick. EX Hurricane Kick, I think, is fine because it actually has like a different utility. It feels different, right? Thrust Kick, you don't need a normal Thrust Kick. Just give him the EX Thrust Kick. That's one of his EX moves. And if you want, you know what I mean? Say if when you do EX Hurricane Kick, 2 of the kicks does this regular spinny thing. Maybe if you press the other 2 kicks, you know what I mean? You can give him the EX Hurricane Kick, right? Where you actually have to do the motions, right? And maybe that juggles, right? You know what I mean? So maybe he has random setups where maybe if you anti-air with Ryu's stand short or anti-air with his stand jab or something like that, if you have meter, you can EX into this move, right? It just has to feel special. I don't want EX moves that are just buffed up old version of special moves. That's stupid. At least the EX Hurricane Kick, you know what I mean? Hurricane Kick traditionally doesn't hit a ducking opponent. So EX Hurricane Kick, it sucks you in. Does some block damage, leaves him at the advantage. Oh, you can do it in the air. He is spinning around. You know what I mean? I need moves as I drop my mouse that have different versatility, right? I don't think, EX Ryu doesn't need an EX thrust kick because it adds nothing to his character. He doesn't need a regular thrust kick because it doesn't add anything to his character. Giving him an EX thrust kick, no regular thrust kick. Wow, so now Ryu has a combo, right? You could give him an EX Hurricane, you give him that, like he does it a little bit different. You know what I mean? You got to give it some different properties, so maybe it goes up. Maybe that's a specific counter, you know what I mean, against, say, it's invincible to fireballs. So Kuma has good air fireballs in the game. Maybe Ryu can go through fireballs with that. I don't know. It's got to have a different utility, right? Because again, I would not give. I've said it before. I would not have Hurricane kicks just go through fireballs like they do ever since Alpha. I think that's actually dumb, right? I think that ruins a little bit of the traditional aspect of Street Fighter, right? Just having a Hurricane kick that can do that whenever, right? Another example, getting a little bit more weird, the Blanka example that I've given before. And this is another one you got to put on your thinking cap for it, right? As I take a drink of water. What would an interesting EX move be for Blanka? Again, thinking about it from a traditional aspect of a more traditional Street Fighter, right? And this is why, what I'm telling you when I said right when the video started, that maybe it might be important to save your meter. Different kind of like options you might have, because say Blanka, you have lightning, right? What if Blanka, when you do his lightning, that if while you're doing lightning, if you were to then, back forward punch or whatever, you could do the ball out of lightning, right? This ball out of lightning, right? Basically, Blanka can do any special move out of his lightning. That's basically my gimmick idea for his like EX move, right? And whatever move you do gets a different new property, right? So Blanka does his little electricity move. If you do the forward ball, he does say that level 3, the electricity ball, right? From CVS, right? Where he's electrified, right? So that could go through fireballs, right? That could also juggle. So if Blanka hits you with electricity in the first place, if he presses back forward punch, then boom. He also hits the ball and it counts as a juggle move, because Blanka doesn't traditionally have a lot of moves that juggle in old school Street Fighter, right? Boom, hits the guy, right? Maybe if you were to do up ball, imagine this. Imagine this functions, say, like Blanka's ball in hyper fighting, right? Let's say Blanka's ball in hyper fighting, but when he goes up and when he comes down, you can control it and move it when he comes back down. So the idea of this would be, I want a powerful sort of cross-up ball that you can control. But think of it like hyper fighting, how when the ball fell down on a character, it did so much stun, and if you actually got hit by it, you got full combos. And it did a lot of dizzy too, right? So say Blanka has different options if he hits you with the lightning. One, he could just do the juggle, and it electrocutes you, right? Or if he knocks you down, maybe your guy falls down, I'm dead, ooh. Then Blanka times it so he comes up with a vertical ball, right? He's all electrified, and then boom, as your guy is standing up, you're like, oh, which way is he gonna come down? And you're like, whoa, am I coming down that way? Oh, am I coming down that way? Hits the guy, boom, cross up, you know what I mean? If you get hit by that, or if you end up blocking, it does big stun, block stun, so you just can continue the mix up. Another thing like this, traditionally, if we think about Blanka's lightning is punishable or like has a bad hurt box right to sweeps. Well, imagine Blanka's just doing electricity and neutral. Ryu wants to sweep him, right? Well, if Blanka does his dash out of it, Blanka dashes back, right? This has a little baby hitbox, right? So then that hitbox would then, boom, hit Ryu. Ryu gets electrified, right? He's staggered. Then Blanka, after hitting them, can say jump up, neutral jump, boom, combo the guy, boom, boom. Or if he's still blocked, he can combo. Or again, maybe if Ryu is afraid of that, he's blocking, right? Then Blanka, boom, he crosses up. It has a little bit of a trail of a hitbox. Now, Ryu is right here, right? Little green dude was right here. Blanka was right here, boom. He crosses up. Ryu respected it. You know what I mean? Lightning hits this way, boom. It crossed up. So Ryu actually has to block that then the other way, right? Do you see what I just gave to Blanka? Blanka doing electricity now, where it used to be so, kind of, if he's just doing it in neutral, right? Just does it for no reason. You're like, oh, I'm just going to walk up, sweep it. Oh, maybe I'm from a certain range, I'm going to walk up, duck, medium punch, fireball, whatever. Wow. Now Blanka just doing electricity. Imagine Blanka just doing this at the beginning of the round. You're like, whoa. The round just started and Blanka's doing this. What the fuck do I do? Right? Blanka could lightning. Do I want to like walk up? Do I want to try to sweep him? Oh, well, he might try to backdash back. Oh, that hit my sweep. Boom. Now I'm going to get comboed. Oh, if I respect it, Blanka might cross me up. Which way am I going to hit? Oh, well, I don't want to fireball because what if he does this? He fireballs and it goes through my fireball because it counts as a fireball. Oh, Blanka's doing his lightning. It's like, I'm just going to stay here. Oh, what if Blanka comes down on me with that move now, right? You're like, whoa, dude. That move becomes super fucking annoying and obnoxious. And isn't that what you want to be with Blanka? You want to be obnoxious with all these different kind of mix-ups, right? And it also is giving Blanka away through fireballs, right? Imagine this hits right. Oh, he blocked it though this time. Well, I'm going to lightning. I do a stand, whatever. Attack into the, oh, I'm a lightning here. Boom, he blocked it this way. Boom. Back and forth, right? Now, of course, he's got to waste another meter if he wants to do that. But boom, do you see how annoying that could be? Just that from a traditional aspect of Street Fighter where you think about a character getting zoned. You know what I mean? Blanka has all these different ways around it now, right? Just imagine Blanka doing this at just the beginning of the round is super fucking annoying because it's like wow, Blanka could totally control the match right from the very beginning because you automatically have to respect what Blanka's going to do, right? Now, again, that's why I was saying that the caveat with this would be because I'm thinking about that some EX moves could be so potentially versatile in their use. What would be a reason that you might not want to EX? Well, again, that's why I was saying that, and I guess it kind of even from a perspective of Street Fighter 6, is that if you've used the EX move though, boom, now you actually take block damage. Now your guard can actually be broken, right? And I say that because I'm not one of those people. I like block damage, right? I love the idea of an old school Street Fighter when people are throwing fireballs at you and you got to block it and you got to hold it. And it's very possible you're going to die from block damage. I mean, look at a character like Ken. Ken is doing all these funky kicks. Ken might do funky kick block damage, funky kick block damage. Oh, I'm just going to do it until the level 3 or well, the EX move. Boom, boom. That's another 4 hits of chip damage, right? You know what I mean? Characters are going to be getting chipped. You know what I mean? So that is why I've played around with the idea that maybe that would be a potential reason to not EX move because you know what I mean? I want real block damage, right? So anyway, that would be an idea. And I've actually thought of other ideas. Like that would not actually be the only EX move I would give Blanka. But the idea is that, do you see what I'm getting at here? That is not a generic EX ball. That is not a generic, it's not a generic EX move. It is a EX move that is a unique move to the character, right? And like I said, when I think about the Blanka thing, that could be completely obnoxious, right? You know, him dashing back and forth, you know what I mean? Oh, he's electrified, whatever. I gotta respect this, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm like I said, I just think about the idea, like some characters like, wow, Blanka just starts off the match. Right when the match starts, Blanka just mashes on electricity, and guess what? Even though that seems stupid, you're like, wow, because you have an EX bar, that's obnoxious, and you have to respect that because now Blanka has a mix-up out of it. And isn't Blanka a mix-up character? Just like Geif. Isn't Geif a character, a throw character? That Geif, you're afraid that Geif is gonna one-shot you. You know what I mean? You're gonna just be put in this mix-up hell. We're giving Geif, you know, a very powerful thing. We're giving Geif, in my brain, Geif definitely has setups that automatically kill you. Ken is a character, the funky kicks. I want, and again, you know, if I could make my own game, I hate talking about frame data because I think people talk about frame data in a way to make them seem smart. And it's like almost so obvious that they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. But again, if I knew how to make my own game, I could probably even put in my own frame data for exactly how it would change each move, right? But the point is, look, you're giving Ken all these different kind of funky kicks, and you're making his funky kick almost kind of like a hit confirm thing, right? And it's fun, dude. It's a different way. It's a unique EX move to him. And again, Ken would have such crazy combos, and the idea that I would make a fighting game because he uses the system of the game so well in my brain, right? So again, if people are like, "That's all," I don't know. There's almost a fear in my head that people might think that that is not a lot for Ken, but it's like, bro, if Ken hits his overhead, boom, that Ken has comboing in and out of funky kicks in these old games, boom. You know what I mean? And then he gets a very powerful. That's a super. Like, I'm not saying that it should do as much damage as a full super, but it would, potentially be maybe the most powerful per damage, EX move, one of the most powerful EX moves in the game, right? And it feels unique to him. Ryu, again, give him a thrust kick, you know what I mean? So he gets a little bit of a combo here. He has a little bit of new versatility with different hurricane kicks, you know what I mean? But he doesn't need EX Fireball. He doesn't need an EX Dragon Punch, any of this shit. Blanka, look at this shit. This is ridiculous. And it's unique, right? Anyway, remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. I could do more characters if you want ideas that I have for EX moves that you could add to games, but hopefully put on your thinking cap and you get what I'm getting at. The end.